Your grace and mercies brought me over. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Friday to you. How you doing? It's me, your girl, Dr. Tanji, and we're broadcasting live from the beautiful country of St. Lucia, located right here in the Caribbean. And I want to say good morning and thank you for being here to my TikTok family, my YouTube family, my Facebook family, Instagram family, and wherever this gentleman will have me, I'm there. So thank you so much for showing up for you and for me. And of course, I definitely do not want to start the show without saying good morning to my guy. You guys know him as DJ Marlon. I know him as my friend and gentle giant. Good morning, good man.
Good morning, listeners, and good morning, Dr.
How are you, man?
I'm doing well. It's
Yeah,
Friday.
absolutely.
I'm good.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yes.
Now, you just recently celebrated your birthday
Yes, I
because
did.
you know how important birthdays are to me, and you've got something going on tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night over at the Grapevine.
Yeah,
in Bella Rosa.
yeah.
We'll just be doing a little dancing. Some people say we gotta walk the floor.
Oh, I love that.
Country music and some old school music.
Oh my God! So I need to wear my boots. Yeah.
Yes. I need the whole floor.
And I will. When I'm dancing, I do exercise moves, so I'm gonna need the whole floor for that. Thank you so very much, man, and again, happy belated birthday,
Thank
and
you very much.
thank you for being a part of my journey.
And thank you very much for making it wonderful for me as well.
Oh, I ain't do nothing. You're very welcome. Now, if you're listening by way of all of the social media platform, and if you're not, you can find me at Dr. Tanji Show. That's on Instagram, YouTube, X, Facebook, TikTok at Dr. Tanji Show. And would you do me a solid by going to those platforms and in the comment section, if you would just write something, something kind, not only for me, but for others who will come along and read it, because you never know the disposition people are in. And knowing that someone cares enough to say something kind and don't even know me, that's incredibly generous. So if you would do that for me, please. And I thank you. I really, really do thank you for that. Now then, if you are new to the show and this is your first time coming to the show really is about inspiring you. It's about motivating you. It's about making sure that you understand just how great you are. It's about you believing that you really, really are, the apple of God's eye. You are. The foundation of the show is real simple. It's founded on kingdom principles. A kingdom is the governing influence and authority, all right, of a king over a territory, impacting it with his will, his intent, producing a citizenship of people like right now who reflect the king's culture, his nature, his values, and his morals. See, a kingdom is a country where the citizens reflect the king's lifestyle. That is so cool to me. Now, when you think about a principle, I want you to think about the original intent of something and the hidden meaning of something. And in this case, we're talking God's law, his statutes of conducting our lives, okay? And these principles have keys in them, and those keys give us access to what really is already made available to us. So when you're studying, be sure to study for those keys, how to apply that word to your life. You can expect honesty, openness, and sincerity on this show. I will never give you my opinion because you don't need my opinion, man. You really, really do not. The world does enough of that, of giving you its opinion, all right? But you can expect a heart for you because I really need you to grow. I want to have, or have you have, actionable goals where you can literally see the growth that you've done. It's about empowering people who have a business. And if you are, among those who are ready to launch your idea, your business, then this is what the show is about. It's about making sure that you are deployed, okay, into his purpose for your life. Now, coming up right after this real quick break, we're going to get into the kingdom principle of how to rediscover yourself when you've lost your identity. Life has a way of giving us losses, so we're going to rediscover who we really are. Okay? Stay tuned. Lives have been ill, testimonies reveal. It's a new day, trust the one. Remember that it's already done. Release, 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 release. All right, let's get into it. Thank you, my amazing little niece, Asia Major. You can find her on all social media platforms. This lady just exudes credibility to her voice. So check her out and see what she's doing, and I'm sure that you're going to find her very, very interesting. Now, let's talk about this rediscovering yourself. When you've lost your identity. Wow, when I first sat down to do my research and identify these principles that go into this particular principle, I discovered that there is an epidemic that has taken place throughout the world. And this epidemic does not discriminate along racial, cultural, ethnic, or religious backgrounds and affiliations. See, my friends, I discovered that this epidemic is real slick in nature. And when I say slick, it poses as weight gain, depression, suicidal thoughts, chronic pain, anything it can create to create a sense of hopelessness coupled with one's inability to move towards the things and position that God has already orchestrated for their lives, then that is what it does. See, when I first discovered this epidemic, I was in the throes of my own physical, emotional, and mental barriers. Please hear me when I say this. I was encapsulated with my past mistakes, my past disappointments, my past bad attitude towards people. And if I'm truly being honest, right here, my perspective of who I am and who I belong to were deeply buried within no trace of them could I see. Follow me. In this life, when circumstances and situations appear to be strangling the hopes, dreams, desires that you, me, we have carried within us for so long, there are some promises spoken by our loving God, our Father, that will shift the very trajectory of what we see and what the outcome will be. See, it's important that It's important that you're reminded of just who you are. And according to our Constitution, the Bible for the believers, you are created in the image and likeness of God. Genesis 1:26. This is our true identity. Anything other than this is a lie. And I'm so very, very serious about this. See, we have characteristics of our Creator. Think about it. We have the ability to operate in our truest essence, existence, and that's love. See, love is the key which unlocks so many doors in our lives. Love is why he did what he did on the cross, even for those who will not believe in him. He knew, but he still did it. And for me, that's incredible. It's amazing. And that's the God that we look like, that we operate like. Now, let's not forget that we also have the likeness, image likeness of our incredible Creator. And this likeness is the attributes that give us the capacity to reason, to create, to make moral choices, and to love. This is our identity, our compass to maneuver in this life. And this is so also how we enter into a loving relationship with our God and with others. But here's what I discovered, right? In my quest over these years, the more I suffered loss, whether it was the loss of my beloved son, the loss of my friends, the loss of material possessions, or just my inability to do physical things. I I found myself looking at the signs and the symptoms, and those were really apparent to me. I found myself gaining weight and becoming severely depressed. I began to self isolate, and this was from my friends and my families. And thinking and seeing myself as having failed so miserably that I couldn't come back from this is where I found myself. But when I discovered his truth about me, when I dared to believe every word written about me in this Constitution written by an incredible God whose creative genius is incomparable to anyone, any system, any government, the one that created, made, and fashioned everything, the one who makes no mistakes, who cleanses us from every iniquity and anything that dare try to separate us from his love for us. When I discovered this, that it caused my mind and my attitude about who I am in him, it caused it to change. And my stinking thinking was no longer apparent towards how I saw myself. So, how do you rediscover yourself when what you see is hidden? One, you go back to the manufacturer. And you've heard me say on this show in times past, the manufacturer is the one who knows his why he created you and his purpose for your creation. Now, this supersedes anything anybody has ever spoken about you, whether good, bad, or indifferent. See, when you go back to the manufacturer, he tells you exactly what the purpose really is. The second thing in rediscovering who you are when you've lost your true identity is believe that you have been given glory and honor already. Now, this one messed me up, right? Because God is so complete. He's so complete in his sovereignty and holiness. It is so amazing that he would take us and crown us with these two attributes. Now, According to Psalms 8 and 5, this is still mind blowing, right? That he would condescend to call us friends. For real talk. First John 15, sorry, 14 through 15 explicitly states that having a friend like this is one of the best relationships you can ever have. He's the type of friend who cares so deeply that 24/7 he's available. Seriously. He never is too busy or allows our calls to go unanswered. But here's what we must do. We got to rehearse this over and over and over. We got to believe that the one who spoke it is also the one who performs it. Our scripture tells us that he looks over his word to perform it. And that word that he spoke about you, me, us, it is the truth. And the third thing that you do in rediscovering who you are when you've lost your identity, all right, is do something different. Now, your doing something different will cause you to have a shift. And that shift sometimes is uncomfortable. But here's what I mean. See, it's been spoken that insanity is extreme folly or unreasonableness, right? And over time, insanity has been adopted in today's lexicon to mean doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. But I'd like to add that there comes a time that you must do something different, something that may cause you to be uncomfortable, but it's going to help you in achieving and rediscovering your true self, the self that's hidden, the self that is begging you to release it. So, story time. Recently, I was speaking to my daughter's Thai friend, and we believe that checking in is vital for our relationship, and it helps us to kind of provide that guidance in making sound decisions. One was speaking about the atrocities that she'd faced in herself and how she was seeing herself, right? And how they reshaped how she saw herself. She mentioned that seeing the tragic death of her brother up close and personal had caused her to relive this scene over and over and over. And it attributed to, her weight gain and her difficulty doing something, whether it was getting into an exercise program or whatever it was, she was seeing herself as being incapacitated, both mentally and physically. Then she said, I don't see me anymore, Ma. I don't see the one that I used to be. She found herself living from the plethora of losses that had inundated her existence, right? And caused her believe that she couldn't move on from it. It made her feel like she was expected to take on the cares of her family and everyone that's concerned. And then she had lost the comfort and was mindlessly eating, that comfort food and how we just mindlessly do it. I've done it several times in my life. But as we discussed, right, the true declarations of who God says she is, like being made more than conquerors through him who loves us, Romans 8:37, and being the light of the world, a city set on a hill which can't be hidden, Matthew 5:14. And knowing that God has plans for her, and he declares that those plans are for her welfare and not for her evil, to give her a future and a hope. And that's Jeremiah 29:11. And as we were rehearsing this over and over, she began to speak to the lost person within her. And I could sense the shift that was going on, right? She declared that she had to change some things in order to see what she had never seen before. She had to remove herself from those things that had attached themselves to her true identity. She mentioned that, you know what, I'm going to do something about this. And she was like a kid, right? She was excited about the possibilities. And by the time we, concluded our conversation, man, she had literally flipped the script on what was to what is and what is to come by changing her perspective, by taking the necessary steps needed to rediscover herself. And although both conversations with my beautiful daughters were different in nature, they exhibited the same undertone, which was when dealing with loss, if you are not careful, you will lose yourself and mistake your true identity to the very thing that is testing your faith. They both agreed that they possess his power to see what they had never seen before. And they were reminded of his new mercies every single day and his grace to handle whatever he allows to try their faith. So I'm saying this to you, those of you who may be listening, those of you who may be wanting to try something different, to believe that what they're seeing is not who they really are. I want you to remind yourself of how God cannot lie. He cannot fail. He is the great I am. Oh, yes, he is. He's sovereign. He's committed to you. He is watching over his very word to perform it in your life. And he's standing waiting for you to prove him. Seriously, he says it in Malachi, prove me. This is the day that he has made. And a relationship in him certifies that you win, you win, you win. Oh, but you do. And that truly is the truth, Ruth. 450-5477 is the number that you can call, and I'm here in studio waiting on your call, or 758-450-5477 if you want to use the app, WhatsApp, to make your contributions known to the show. But remember, you're rediscovering who you are when you've lost, okay, so much. How do you rediscover who you are? All right, I'm open and available, and he knows what I'm about to do. Yep. So the three keys that I mentioned on rediscovering, who you are. Have you found yourself or ever found yourself having to remind God of the promises that he's spoken or that you've read about, or that you know to be true in who you are? Yeah, yeah, man.
I thought you were just going over some of your keys. Okay. Well, rediscovering who you are can be something that you have to face from time to time. I don't know in as much as necessarily from what you think God has promised you in
For
my
sure.
case,
For sure.
but definitely yes, you have to come up with different things, like you said, that are out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You have to move on from a certain point. You have to realize there is more to what you can bring.
Gotcha.
So you don't always stick to that level of, oh, I'm just going to stay there and do this.
Yep.
You've got to move on and you've got to move up if you want to achieve more. So definitely,
yeah, man.
Yeah, it's a process.
It
like
is,
I always
though.
say,
Yeah.
everything is.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely there is that rediscovery process all the time.
Oh, man. I love that. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you, gentle giant.
Thank you. We'll go to this message here. Okay.
All right.
Magdalena this morning is on. She says, good morning, Dr. Tonji.
Good
Fantastic
morning,
Friday
Maggie.
to you. Changing our lost identity starts with us recognizing that we are lost without having a connection with our Maker. Corinthians 5:17 says, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. All things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. Amen. No matter our failures or shortcomings. When we are connected with him, it is no longer about old nature. We become united with him and we begin to understand our worth, how valuable we are, and that no matter what the world throws at us, it won't shake us because we know who we are in Christ. Yeah. A chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a peculiar people. Too many of us have allowed the world to dictate who we are. He said we are fearfully and wonderfully made. He made no mistake when he created us in
Hmm.
his image and likeness. We must also not be comparing ourselves to others,
Hmm.
as we are unique in our own ways, and that's what makes us beautiful and special. We can all be the same.
Hmm.
Wonderful weekend, guys, and it goes on to say, yes, you're right, Marlon. It is a process that I
Thank
mentioned
you.
earlier. Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you so very, very much. Our Maggie. And I have seen firsthand how she has allowed God to use her faith in ways that have just proven to her that He really is for her and not against her. So thank you for your contributions. Thank you so very much for living what I get to read and study every day. And it goes back to that process, man. It is truly when you are rediscovering who you are. It is a process, but man, it's it's exciting, it's like going into the unknown, and you're excited. You're not scared, of course, because you don't have the fear of the spirit of fear, but
You
it
don't want to. You
is.
don't want to be scared.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you just kind of keep telling yourself, I got this. I
Yeah.
got this. God is with me.
We have to be
And
taught that faith.
oh my God, you better operate in it. You'll lose your mind if you do not. Really. Man, life really does have a way of making you choose to use your faith. And that's a wonderful thing. I'm excited for all of those this year who are saying, I'm not making the New Year's resolutions, but just literally becoming the work, putting in the work, because you'll never get to where you really want to be unless you begin to be the work. And sometimes it's frightening, for a lack of a better word. But again, that spirit of fear is not yours. But going into the unknown and just knowing that God is with you and you know that you're being used for His purpose, His will in your life, it is mind boggling. But I would champion anyone who is saying, I've got to get back to who I was, that better version of what I'm seeing now. Just do it. Seriously, just do it. Do not wait. Don't wait till tomorrow for what you can literally do today. Write it down, write it down, write it down, rehearse it. Find those scriptures that will agree with what you're saying and watch yourself be deployed into where you've never gone before. It's mind boggling. It's refreshing to know that He's got you. You cannot fail. You really cannot. 450-5477 is the number you can call if you want to make a contribution to what I'm saying. But seriously, to all of those who are ready to go into life, congratulations to your new. Congratulations to doing something that you haven't done before, something that makes you feel uncomfortable. As my daughter Ty would say, "Ma, I've got to do it." She and I were talking, about having lost, her husband, her best friend, my bonus son, and the process of going through that, but then knowing that I gotta pick myself up. I gotta keep going. I know God is with me. I know that I'm going to live through this, and she's doing it. And I am so grateful to see someone that I know personally, right, who's doing it and doing it with fervor, with such a sense of abandoning whatever fear there was and going into the unknown with the God that knows everything. So my hat's off to you, Ty.
Here's an idea, Dr. Tom.
Yeah, man.
Every day people face challenges, people try out new challenges on, say, TikTok and
For
all of
sure.
that. There are challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how about you challenge yourself? As a listener, you hearing this today,
Ha.
and you haven't taken that step. How about you challenge yourself as of today
Oh, I
to, to,
love
to
that.
try and do something,
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
new?
I like that. What a great challenge. All right. For those who are listening, right, this is the challenge. You will do something different, something you haven't done before, something that's going to make you feel so uncomfortable, right? But so alive at the same time. Now, we're not saying be reckless. You would want to jump out of a plane like I did. But, if that's something you want to do. Yeah, man. But live. Live from that place of expectation that you cannot fail, that you have already won, that you are more than an overcomer. Live from that perspective and tell me how it went for you. All right. It's been a blast being in your listening ears for a few minutes. Thank you so much. I really do mean this for allowing me to live a life that I knew existed, didn't know how to get here, but you've made it possible. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for believing God one more time, right? And then one more time, and then one more time. The Lord say the same, and the creek don't rise. We're going to do this thing again called Life and the Dr. Tanji Show right here on Kiss FM. Until then, take care of yourselves. Mwah! I love you.